Hey there, wonderful artist. My name is Kelli Folsom, and I've been a professional working artist for 17 years. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the essential oil painting materials that you would need to get started. Because if you didn't know this already, I'm going to tell you that the right materials or the wrong materials can actually make or break your oil painting experience and can lead to you having a better result or a worse result. So today I want to help you by hopefully avoiding all of those mistaken purchases and mistakes I've made when purchasing oil painting materials over the last 17 years. So if you are just getting started, or if you are still wondering, like, gosh, there's so many materials out there on the market, it's so overwhelming, I don't know which ones are the better ones to go with, then this video is for you. So let's dive in right away and get started. First, oil painting colors. And remember, I'm going to be giving you only the colors that I feel like are best for you, like a good starter kit for you to get going. So while there are tons and tons of colors and so many, bougie brands out there, which I don't recommend, I am over the bougie brands myself. And there's so many fun colors as well that I do like to layer in occasionally, but that can actually cause a lot of overwhelm whenever it comes to your color mixing. So we really need very basic colors to get going. First, there's white. As a beginner, the white that I would recommend is a titanium zinc white. This tube looks horrible. Here we go. But this is by Permalba. I would recommend Permalba or Sennelier, or really any brand, Winsor and Newton, Gamblin. For most colors, I tend to order from 4 brands, Winsor and Newton or Gamblin. Those two are kind of interchangeable to me. I order from Charvan Oil Paints Professional for specific colors. I order a couple of specific colors from Sennelier. Okay, so I'll be telling you which ones for which brand that I order from. So Permalba is a titanium zinc white. I recommend titanium zinc white as a beginner because titanium is way too cold of a white. It is going to kill your colors whenever you're mixing. It's going to make a lot of your color look really chalky. So the zinc white that is in this pigment mixture is going to add a little bit of warmth, a little bit of translucency to that really toothpastey titanium white. So it's just a really good all-purpose balanced white that you can use for any genre, really, with oil painting. And again, you can really get that from any brand. This Weber Permalba, you just get a giant tube and it lasts for a long time. Okay, next up on colors is going to be Naples Yellow. This is one of those specific colors that I do get from Sennelier. I find that other brands, Naples Yellow tends to be a little dull or a little dingy, and this one is very vibrant, of a yellow color. I find that this is so helpful. Actually, you can kind of see in my background there a little sketch of some painting of some irises. And I find this is really, I call it kind of a cheater color. You don't have to have this color, but this saves you so much mixing time, saves me so much mixing time. So that's why I love this color. And you can see that I use it up every single time. So every color I'm going to give you today are colors that always go to empty for me and are super useful and very easy for a beginner to get going with. So I'm going to be avoiding some pigments. I'll mention them so that you know what they are, but I'll be avoiding some pigments that are not very easy to work with whenever you're first learning how to color mix. Oh my gosh, do I remember those days. Okay, next up is a yellow ochre. This is an earth yellow. It's a soft tinting strength yellow. I do prefer to get this from Charvan. It's just a really beautiful yellow ochre. It's not a synthetic yellow ochre. And I accidentally ordered the massive tube. You don't need a massive tube of it. There's no reason why I have this except for I made an accident when I ordered this from Amazon. So yellow ochre is just a beautiful, soft, earthy yellow. Again, it's one of those colors. Yes, you can technically kind of mix it yourself, or you can't make yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is the pigment. But technically, you could kind of mix blue, red, and yellow with white to get to a similar color, which can be useful to do. We did that in art school. We were only allowed to paint with blue, red, and yellow and white for a long time. And it does teach you a lot about color mixing, and it is such a pain in the butt and takes you so long to mix. So that's another really useful color that I use a lot. Um, Colors that are expensive, but really there are no substitute for these colors. And here is the pitfall, the trap I want to keep you from falling into is going cheap on these colors and buying the student grade or anything that says hue on it. And that is the cadmiums. Okay. So there's 3 cadmiums that I use. I do recommend going with either Winsor and Newton or Gamblin. And they cannot say hue on them. Even a Grumbacher, which is very affordable, you can go for that as long as it doesn't say hue. But I would say Winsor Newton and Gamblin are the best bet, best bang for your buck here. These are very, very strong pigments. The cadmiums I use is cadmium lemon. I don't know if y'all can see that, if it's going to focus. Cadmium lemon. Cadmium yellow deep, which is an orangey yellow. This cadmium lemon, that is going to get you the coolest, most vibrant, vivid, bright, light yellow. That's why I like this one. I like to choose colors that are going to give me the most bang for my buck with color mixing. So if you need a yellow that's not quite this orange and yet not quite this bright, you just mix the 2 together and it's all right. Okay, so rather than buying every tube of cadmium, cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow light, all that stuff. Okay, so the next cadmium yellow that I prefer is cadmium yellow deep. It's not quite orange, but it's not like a cad yellow medium. So again, I can mix these 2 cadmium yellows together to get that variety of yellow that I'm looking for really, really quickly and easily. Again, Gamblin or Winsor Newton. Cadmium red light would be the next one. I decided I would try out this tube, which is even more affordable, by Grumbacher, and I could say that the quality is still there. So Cad Red Light, it's kind of like the red that I'm wearing right now. Kind of a red orange, it's got a little bit of orange to it, bit of a scarlet color to it. Okay, the next must-have color, in my opinion, and I know probably there might be a lot of people out there that would disagree with me on this, but I absolutely love this color, especially if you do want to create any still life paintings, and that is alizarin crimson. The other reason why I love this color is because when you need a deep, rich red or a purple, this is the color that I use. So if I need a darker red than this cadmium red light, I just mix some alizarin crimson in with that, and that gives me a deeper, kind of a rich ruby red, or more of a true red. I specifically buy this, alizarin crimson from Sennelier. It is not permanent alizarin crimson. I do not think you need to buy permanent alizarin crimson. I am so hooked on this alizarin crimson. I have used this for years and years and years. It is just such a pretty color. It's really amazing the differences that there can be between different brands and different pigments. So a lot of times you buy a color and you're like, why is this so different from this other brand? I don't know, but this, I've tried so many alizarin crimsons, and this one is the most beautiful color. It's a transparent color. It's going to be great for darks. It's going to be great for purples. And like I said, deep reds, pinks. If you just use this with white, you are going to get the most beautiful, cool pink. Okay, the next colors that I recommend are before I go into that, the next color I'm going to recommend is an ultramarine blue. I recommend getting this from Charvan. I think theirs is called Ultramarine Blue Deep. Again, from the Charvan brand. Do not buy that from Sennelier is what I would say, because their ultramarine blue is horrible. So again, these are the exact colors that I use day in, day out. They are my workhorse colors, must-have colors. Ultramarine blue is going to be the best blue for you to begin with as a beginning oil painter, okay? It has a strong enough tinting strength, but not too strong that you're going to just want to pull your hair out whenever you're mixing colors. It's going to provide you with really nice, natural looking greens. It's going to make a beautiful purple whenever you mix that with your alizarin crimson, because it is a red-based blue. So it's better for making purples, and also it's great for mixing kind of earthier greens, like in the landscape, without the green looking too toxic looking or too neon. Just because it already has a little bit of red in the blue, which is going to give you quite a bit more natural looking greens. Again, just a workhorse blue. People have asked me before, like, what about cobalt blue? I've tried cobalt blue. It's more expensive. It's also a weaker tinting strength color. And again, this is just a good workhorse blue, because this really gets you some deep, darker value blues, whereas the cobalt will not do that. Okay, the next two colors on the list, I would say just pick one, and that is either a raw umber or a burnt umber, or you can grab both if you want to. Burnt umber is these are the earth pigments, and these are the pigments that a lot of times, you'll see, like in some of the old master paintings, you'll see a lot of, this burnt umber type of color showing through. Um, these are the colors that are best to start your paintings with, unless you're painting like a very vibrant, light valued painting. This is what I tend to do my underpaintings with. Burnt umber is a reddish brown, kind of a purpley reddish brown. Again, I would recommend just grabbing that from either Winsor & Newton or Gamblin. You don't need to spend a fortune on a burnt umber, because this is a very affordable pigment. It's an earth pigment. You don't need to spend a ton of money on this. So go with like an affordable brand like Gamblin or Winsor & Newton. I recommend Winsor & Newton a lot because that brand has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, and the quality is there and the affordability is there. Gamblin has been around for less time, but I also really trust their quality and appreciate the affordability of that brand. Okay, raw umber would be the other umber that you can get. This is going, depending on who you buy it from, it's going to be a little bit cooler. Basically, any pigment that says raw on it, like raw sienna versus burnt sienna. Raw is going to be more the cooler version of that color. Burnt is going to be the warmer version of that color. Okay, so just a little tip and trick if you're like, what? This is the same. If you're anything like I was in the beginning, like, I'm so confused. What are all these colors, and why are they both called sienna, but one's called raw and one's called burnt? Same thing with umbers. Raw umber is going to be your cooler raw umber. This makes really beautiful old world, old master looking grays. It's just a really beautiful color as well. But if I had to just pick one umber as my workhorse umber, it's going to be burnt umber, just because I feel like it has a bit more depth and richness and warmth and more versatility for me, especially for still life painting. Um, okay, the last color, oh, I forgot to mention, so on the blue, the other blue that I occasionally will use is a phthalo blue. And I do think you can buy this from the Gamblin 1980, which is more like their student grade. There's certain pigments that you can buy like a lower grade. Cadmiums, no, don't do it. Okay. But things like umbers and phthalo. But here's a reason why I don't like to include phthalo for a beginner is because it's such a strong tinting strength color. You need just the tiniest amount, and you need to really be at more of a mastery level in your color mixing, I feel, in order to start to pull this in. So that's why I would not recommend phthalo blue. The last color on the list, which might be controversial for a lot of people, is going to be, or a lot of schools of thought, I guess, is going to be, dun dun dun, ivory black. Yes, you need black. Black is beautiful, baby. And you need it. Now, there's a lot of blacks out there, and so I'm recommending that you go with ivory black. There's Mars black. That's a warm black. It's more like a burnt umber almost. It's very brown, very warm. Ivory black, I really see ivory black as a cool, has a lot of blue in it. This is not the true ivory black that it used to be, thank goodness, where they used to make it from, burning ivory or something like that. So no ivory husks are being harmed to make ivory black nowadays. It's all, more synthetically made. So, but it's such a beautiful, rich, dark. I know that there is a lot of teachers out there that will still say, don't use black, it kills your color. Oh my gosh, I just think that is so nonsensical. Artists have been using black for centuries. It was definitely one of the workhorse colors available, and especially if you want to do more rich, dramatic, stunning looking paintings like that, you are definitely going to need a black. You cannot get the depth of black uh, the same way that you can get by using ivory black. Yes, you can mix, sap green with the alizarin crimson or something like that, but it's just still not going to be the same as just a dark, rich ivory black. So again, keep it simple, sweetie, is my motto in life. So those are the oil colors. It's a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 8 colors and then white and black. Okay. All right. Next up on the list is the infamous mediums. Ah! By the way, if you're liking this, of course, I'm going to have all the links for you in the description box below. And also, if you're looking for even more in-depth quality education, I have a free masterclass for you for beginners. That is linked down below as well. Go and check that out. Please grab that. That will also give you an even further breakdown of materials and all that good stuff, as well as just some really wonderful lessons to get you started with painting. I know for me, the main hurdle that I faced as a beginning artist was just getting started, just like making the decision to buy the things, sign up for a class, and just give it a go. I had to sign up for a class because I had no clue how to paint, never had any art instruction. I had no clue what to paint. That was the other issue. And I would go and do these classes. And I remember one class where I was like, I told the teacher, well, what should I paint? She's like, anything you want. You know? And I was like, but I don't know. I have no clue what to paint. So I know for me, I really needed more guidance in the beginning just to get going and start to, build my skills and find my path forward. So if you're looking for some more support in that, I have lots of free courses and resources for you in the description box below. Next up, mediums. This was so confusing to me in the beginning for oils. And so I'm gonna tell you the medium that I have used for almost my whole time painting. In the beginning, I tried a lot of different mediums. I even worked with acrylics for a couple of years. So the medium I prefer is liquid light gel. And as you can see, I go through a lot of it because I have a really big bottle of it because I use it. You could definitely grab a smaller bottle of it if you're just getting started with it. This is by Winsor and Newton. Okay, and this is says speeds drying and suitable for glazing. I like it for both of those reasons. So wet into wet oil painting, I like this because it does speed up the drying time of the oil paint, and it just gives me more control over the oil paint because as I'm working on the paint begins to set up and you can really start to do some pretty cool stuff without having to wait so long. And if you're new to me, I mostly paint alla prima wet into what's called alla prima wet into wet oil painting. And I do tend to finish, alla prima just means that you're finishing your painting pretty much in one sitting and creating effects wet into wet. But when I don't do that and I do work on a painting after it's dried, this is also really lovely for doing some glazing, like where you just need to kind of glaze and glazing, if you don't know, is a transparent, darker color mixture over something that you've already painted. And so it is really beautiful for that as well. The only thing with this, if you are a beginner, is that you must wash out your brushes immediately after you're done painting. Because just like this is going to speed up the drying of your paint on the canvas, it's also going to speed up the drying of the paint in your bristles of your brush. So that's the only downside to this that I really hate because I hate washing brushes. But it's still so worth it. So that's why I use it and force myself to at least soak my brushes in mineral spirits until I can get them washed, which I still, after 17 years, do not have a good habit around brush washing. The other substitutes for that Winsor Newton liquid light gel, because some people don't like it because it does have an odor to it. I don't find the odor to be overwhelming. I have used other mediums in the past, like Old Masters Marager, which has the real turpentine in it, and that odor is so overwhelming. And again, it's another one of those kind of higher end bougie products that I just don't feel is worth the bang for its buck. And there's just hardly anybody that makes it out there. The company I used to buy it from, the quality of their production really went down. And so I had to stop using it. Plus, it was like 50 bucks a tube for a small tube. Whereas I feel like I can get the same effects from liquid light gel, and this for this giant thing, it's like maybe 20 bucks. Um, Not exactly sure on the pricing. So the other substitute mediums I would recommend if you don't want an odor would be from Gamblin. So they have a solvent-free gel and that has no odor whatsoever. It won't dry your paint as quickly as this liquid, but that works really well. Also Gamblin's Neo Megulp, I feel like doesn't have an odor to it, and that is a more speed drying medium. It's a little, the Gamblin's Neo Megulp is a little bit thinner for me and a little bit runnier. I just really like the silky, this to me has like kind of a silkier light quality. Winsor Newton also makes Liquid Original. For me, it's just a little too sticky. They also have a Liquid Impasto, which to me has a way, it feels like painting with Vaseline, like it just has way too much petroleum in that, but it's supposed to be good if you want like thicker impasto, thicker paint. Okay, next up on the list, let me see here, are brushes. This, I cannot stress this enough. Buy good brushes. Please, please, please buy good quality brushes. If I could go back in time and tell myself anything, it would be buy better quality surfaces to paint on and better quality brushes. right away instead of feeling like, but I'm not very good yet and I don't want to spend the money and I can't afford that, you know, and all that kind of stuff. If you take care of these brushes I'm about to show you, if you just clean them, you can use the same brush for, I mean, probably a year or more. They are so good. And that is, and you can see mine are well used and well loved, especially this one here. And that is Silver Brush. Any brush you buy from Silver Brush is going to be excellent. These are the Silver Grand Prix, and they are hog hair bristle brushes, okay? And which sizes to get? I recommend 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Silver Brush. These are natural hair bristles, okay, and filberts. And yes, you might be thinking those look dirty, but they're not dirty. Anyway, so you do want to, you know, wash these out. When you're washing them, you want to kind of get the soap all down in there and get as much as the soap into the ferrule of the brush as you can. Why are these such good brushes? Interlocking bristles, they hold their shape. The shape of them actually begins to conform to how you manipulate your brush. So they get better with age, better with time. They start off, you know, much longer, which is going to give you really good flexibility, but still stiffness because it's a natural hair. And then over time, they will start to shorten. And so that can also be useful for certain painting effects, right? Okay, the other option from Silver Brush, again, I recommend filberts. I would say filberts and flats are the top two brush shapes that I would recommend. But I like filberts especially for still life painting because it's kind of got this curved edge, as you can see. And that creates a lot of forms, and still life have a lot of roundness to them. And so I just feel like it works best for organic objects and curved objects. So the next type of brush that I would highly recommend from Silver Brush, and this actually I think would be easier for beginners to get started with because it's a synthetic brush. It is easier to clean as well than the natural hair brush. The natural hair brush is going to be kind of more like your natural hair. And so it really does soak up a lot of the paint, and sometimes it's harder to get the paint out of the hair follicles. So, because it tends to be from a pig's hair. All right, so this is a synthetic brush, and this is, I don't think that's going to focus, but Silver, the Bristlon series. Again, same sizes I would recommend, 2, 4, 6, and 8 in these brushes. I'm actually really, really loving these brushes as well and about to order even more from them. The last brush that you're going to need, I would recommend, would be for signing. Some people are going to recommend a liner brush. I find a lot of times with the liner brushes are too long and they're too flexible. So what I would do is grab a round from Silver Brush, Silver Ruby Satin, and it just in a small round like a zero or, you know, maybe a 1. And that reminds me, I forgot to put one more brush out. Also from the Silver Brush Ruby Satin series. These are a soft-haired synthetic oil or acrylic. All these brushes can be used for oil or acrylic, by the way. If you are painting in acrylic, I would definitely recommend the Bristlons over the hog hair, you know, just because I think that the medium, the paint and that brush would work well together. But these are the ruby satins. So I also get a large flat, like a medium flat and a large flat, a number 4 and a number 8. And I mostly use this in my backgrounds or in my skies, or just to kind of smooth out some passages or knock down some glare if there's glare on a brush stroke that I don't want, because the hog hair bristle brushes put down a lot of brush strokes and maintains the brush stroke, which I really love. I love seeing those brush strokes. But sometimes if you're doing like more of a classical still life, you may not want glare catching on those brush strokes. So that's what I use this for. And it just kind of smooths that out. Okay, so again, all the links will be down below for you. Palette knives. I do not use a palette knife to mix with. I use a palette knife to paint with. I use it to either smudge areas out, or I use it to place a small highlight or a crisp edge, or I use it for stems to create sharp edges for stems in still life. Outdoors, plein air painting, I would probably use it to smudge passages of paint together and kind of soften and blend things without over blending and making it look dull and lifeless. That's what this palette knife is for. I recommend the Jack Richardson knife. Can't remember the number of it, but it's a longer triangular or diamond shaped knife. Don't get the short ones really. Those are supposed to be more for mixing, but I don't mix with the knife, I mix with my brush. Okay, next up on the list is going to be, so what are you going to paint on? Okay, and before I go through this, if you're liking this video, please leave me a comment below. Let me know if this is helpful or useful to you so that I'm not just, wasting my time giving you information that you don't want. Or if you have any follow-up questions for me, let me know. Also, hit the like button. That's really going to help me. I have a goal to get to 100,000 subscribers. And I really appreciate the help on that. And click subscribe if you're liking this, and that'll give you, whenever my new videos come out. All right, everyone. I hope that this has helped you to overcome some overwhelm. I hope I've been able to save you a lot of headache and a lot of wasted money by giving you all of the oil colors, the brushes that I would recommend. Yes, for a beginner, and medium. Yes, for a beginner, but a beginner that wants to get beautiful results and wants to use their energy wisely. But we are just getting started. So next week, I'm going to have part 2 of this series coming out that covers all of the materials that you're going to need that I would recommend when it comes to what easels to use, palettes, varnishing and framing. So stay tuned, because next week I'm going to be unveiling part 2 of this materials, how to get started with oil painting for beginners. Okay, be sure to hit the bell, like this video, share it with somebody that you feel would benefit from it as well. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments below. Until next time, happy painting!